Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? How are you doing? Happy Tuesday, not Monday. Yesterday was a long day. I finished my hermeneutics class yesterday. So let's just say it was a long day. I wanted to stream. You know, I had ambitions of streaming, and then it didn't happen. I apologize for that. I do, but it didn't happen. Hold on, let me open up. And then it didn't. Okay. I apologize for that. I do. There's the echo. There's the echo. Here, I'll turn me off. There we go. If you typed to me on YouTube, I missed it because, you know, I'm not on my A game today. All right. B game. Hope you guys are doing good. It's really good to see you. And I'm excited to jump into this. We should be getting into the prophets because in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 32, the prophets are mentioned last. Let me show you. Also, do you guys like the new setup? I no longer have the boom arm. We actually have a mic stand, kind of a desk level mic stand. And so I had to play around with it. The background got shifted to this side a little bit. And so you get less background stuff. I had to change the colors as well. But if it's working good, let me know. I like this setup for right now. But if it's not working for some reason, just let me know. I think I prefer it. And we'll keep honing it in. So yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this. Look at this. Yes. These are good things. Okay, I think we're good. Let me show you on Hebrews 11:32. And what more shall we say? Time would fail me to tell
Your life is not in your hands. Your life is in the hands of God.
That's awesome.
Violent Midget 300 just resubbed for 14 months.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Violent. Yes. Much love to you. This is bugging me now. Cal Magic, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Welcome. Yes, I understand. I tried to stream yesterday. Well, I didn't try to stream yesterday. I had ambitions of streaming yesterday, and it didn't quite happen. And I know I've been on this once a week thing. I finished hermeneutics yesterday, though. Today I started Hebrews to Revelation. So I'm on track to finish my classes and graduate in May. But it's a lot of work, and I don't have much bandwidth. Drinking a green tea tonight. Cheers. And I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Violent, 14 months. Much love to you. Thank you so much for all the love and support. And let's see. Yeah, I think this is good. So here's what I'm going to preach on, this one little word right here. I've already done Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets. Kai, Tone, Prophetone. Right? That's what I'm preaching on right there, that little word. So we've already got some ideas. I don't know if you remember, but we started to generate some ideas when we were... This is a little loud. Let me just knock it down a tad. We started to generate some ideas when we were researching Samuel. So, in fact, I'm just going to skip this one. So let's go ahead and open my Canvas. I thought I had a Canvas document. Let's see. Prophets, right there. Oh, yeah. So what I did is I pulled over a bunch of ideas that we had on prophets from our study on Samuel. Because I originally was going to treat, you'll remember, Samuel and the prophets together, all one, because Samuel's the last prophet. But then I got going on the idea of transition. And I just took that out to its full conclusion. So, this is bugging me. I gotta fix this light. We'll get this figured out in time. It's kind of too bright now. Actually, that might do it. No, it's too bright. Ah! I should be able to figure this out with an engineering degree. What's up, Amaras? Good to see you. I should be able to figure this out. I mean, it's not bad, but I want the light to be lower, but not as direct. I think I have to put it closer and cast it. What's up, Burra? Good to see you. Burra says, you had an episode where you showed how to import collections, I think from Faith Life. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, what's up, Cavell? Good to see you. Pastor Tanner, did you ever happen to see my post on Discord about Samuel? I don't think so. Oh, no? What did I miss? I already preached on Samuel. What did I miss? Did I miss something critical? Cal Magic, your lighting looks cool. I should set up my stage background lights to show you how to perform in smaller venue stages. Very nice. How do I find it? Collections. I think it's just called something like leveraging collections. And if you go down in the comments, Burra, not the comments, the description, I think I link the specific groups that I follow on Faith Life in order to get that. Then you go in and you follow the groups, and you have to go in and like add the collection itself. So I think that's what it's called. Check it out and tell me if that doesn't work for you, Burra. Good to see you, by the way. Okay, hold on. I got one more plan. It's just too bright. It's too bright. I got to go with what I had. Oh, I need to re-give myself access so I can quick ban people. Give me a second here, y'all. Ban. There we go. All right, false alarm. Going back to what we had. Maras. That's awesome. All right. Let's catch up. Cavell, general chat, not critical, but I'd love to see your thoughts on it. You can focus your current sermon now, but I was curious if you ever get a chance to look at it. Let me look at it right now. I haven't started yet, so it's a perfect time. Let me look at it right now. General chat. Okay, I got it. Cavell says, I don't know if PT checks this chat. Now you know. Now you know, Cavell. But listening to the live stream tonight about Samuel, and I found this parallel between Jesus and Samuel over a year ago. It's worth looking into to see how the passages parallel. I believe Luke 2 is showing Jesus is the greater Samuel. Samuel 2:22, the sons were found sinning. Luke 2:46-48, Jesus was found teaching. Okay, we got to check this out. 1 Samuel 2:22. His sons were doing all to Israel. Right. What's up, Angus? Good to see you. Tonight, we are drinking Sleeping Dragon, which is a kind of gunpowder. It's like a gunpowder green. It's really, really good. I'm a huge fan. Good to see you, Angus. And let's see. Before I dig into this, I want to make sure I get everyone else. Cal Magic says, had a fantastic Bible study today. 1 Samuel 13 linked back to Genesis 3, Numbers 14, and Christ. Was told the church desperately needs more men that can explain the Old Testament so clearly and they understand the New Testament better. Felt truly humbled, and thanks to the Holy Spirit for guiding me so much. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Cal Magic. I got good feedback on my Samuel sermon. People are really resonating with understanding the Old Testament in this way. I think it's helpful for people. Amaris, I wish I could get on when you stream more, but unfortunately your stream is like right in the middle of dinner family time for me most days. But I support it. I wish I could lurk more. Thank you so much, Amaris. And I want you to know now's not forever. My schedule will probably change in the future. I squeeze it in where I can. But as my kids get older, who knows what the future has for us, and we're in this for the long haul. That's my plan, unless God says different. Okay, so I appreciate you, Amaris, but now's not forever. Now's not forever. All right. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so let's get back to this. Jesus grew, Luke 2:40. And then Samuel grew, Luke 2:21. Grew and became strong. Now I want English Septuagint for some of these comparisons. This isn't a deadlock, but one of the things I would say when you're trying to tie these typological links together, one of the things I think is most important is to get the words correct, right? Like you need a couple of words that are the same. That's at least what I've seen. I'm not saying that's it. Typology is still very new to me, but I think you want to get like units of words, like 2 or 3 words that are basically the same. And all the better if they don't get used very often overall, if that makes sense. So we have child grew and became strong. Let's go look at Samuel. 1 Samuel 2:21. And she bore 3 sons and 2 daughters, and the child Samuel grew before the Lord. Let's set up a... It's funny, I'm in the English Septuagint, and then I'm going to set up this guy, multiple resource view of, the actual Septuagint. Septuagint with Logos morphology. Okay, and do they have that on? Can I do that? Corresponding words, corresponding selection, highlights, labels. That should be good. Chapter, verse number, indicators. Okay, that's helpful. Now, doesn't quite get it. Close. And the child grew before the Lord. The child Samuel grew before the Lord. Verse 21. Paidoion Samuel, right here. Enopion. So, if our enopion here is the same as what's used over here, I would give it more credence, right? And it's close. I'm guessing this enopion, and I might be wrong. Well, maybe not. Euxonen. So I suspect these are different roots. Comes from oxano, to grow. And enopion. Before. Oh, I'm getting it wrong. Where's the grew then? Is the grew implied? Now it's throwing me off. Became great. Yeah, so if I'm understanding the Septuagint here, and the Septuagint isn't always the right answer, but you would need to show that the Hebrew goes a little bit with this. You see what I mean on the grew piece? I'm not saying it's wrong, but from what I've seen, like when I see Warren Gage do this, he is very careful to get the original languages locked in. You see what I mean? Let's keep going though. Okay. And this is great practice because I want to do this in the future myself. Right now I just copy other people, right? The sons were found sinning, 1 Samuel 2:22. And Jesus was found teaching. Samuel grew. Jesus grew. 1 Samuel 2:26. Let's try this. Was advanced. I see this megale associated with Samuel constantly. And Jesus grew, Luke 2:52. And Jesus increased. Ooh, see, I like this. The structure feels similar, just as I read it. And the child Samuel advanced and was in favor with God and with men. And Jesus increased in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. Kai karidi para theo kai anthropois. Kai meta kuriou kai meta anthropon. See, there's some similarities here. But there's no meta over here. Very interesting. But yeah, very similar structure. I think you're onto something with this one especially. Cavell, let's keep going. Jesus is the solution to the problem of the sinful priest, and so was Samuel. Oh, so you're not relying so much on the grammar, which is important at times, but you're also looking at the problem they solve. So we had sinful priests, Eli's children, near Samuel. Samuel comes along, fixes the sinful priest problem by replacing Eli, and then Jesus comes along, and we have sinful priests as well. After seeing the sins of the sins in 1 Samuel causes them to ask who can intercede for them. The answer was, at the time, Samuel, but now we know the ultimate answer is Jesus. That's very intriguing. Both stories are bracketed by saying the child grew. So you're treating it, the child grew as essentially a mini chiasm, and it's flanked by child grew with the center being found sinning, found teaching. So the teaching is contrasted with the sinning as the cure. Very intriguing. Very intriguing. I like this, Cavell. Yeah. I'd need to dig into it a little bit more, but I'm enjoying it very much. Yeah, very interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Cavell. I'm sorry I don't read general chat. I'm sorry about that. Oh, man. All right. Cal Magic, you might open the interlinear in the English and see what is implied, etc. in an instant. Oh, that would be the easier way to do it, wouldn't it? Move along. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Amara says, on that note, I got to go bathe the toddler. Hope you have a good stream. Thank you so much, Amaris. We'll catch you later, okay? Take it easy. And Amara says, hey, man, it's okay. Don't change anything for my sake. I was just letting you know. I see when you stream, even though I'm not in the chat very much. I haven't forgotten about it. I want to support it. Well, I appreciate that, Amaris. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Ruination, hello. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Burris says, my chat is not working / it's not live. Not sure what has changed. Me neither. I don't know. Mine's updating live. So I don't know what's going on there. Cavell says, yeah, both stories have Jesus and Samuel as young men, and they're both actions in the temple. I preached a sermon on. I wanted to hear your thoughts. Thanks. Yeah, my pleasure, Cavell. I think when you're looking for these typological parallels, again, my very limited experience, but often I see them digging into the original languages and connecting certain words or phrases up with each other. And so that would lend it some more strength and credibility if you did a little more work on that front. But yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Okay, let's head over to Canvas over here. Let's see. Can I show all this? Yeah, it looks fine. Looks fine. Okay, so here's what I have in Canvas. And this was created from last time when we were digging into Samuel. I was maybe going to treat the prophets at the same time. And so that's when I created this Canvas document here. So I also made one more before I finalize this one. So let me open that one as well, because I thought it had some insights also. I don't need Gideon. I just opened Prophets, Hebrews 11:32. Summary of God's working through faith. This one's going to be after the Prophets one. So this one will be good. This is when he walks through 9 statements about God delivering people by faith. Okay, so I'll preach that one next Sunday, Lord willing. So I think this is just where we're at. Let me double check here. Yeah, I think this is just where we're at. This was all the information I had gathered for my sermon on Samuel when I thought I was going to include discussion of the prophets as well. Turns out I didn't, but let's go ahead and look into this. So Paul refers to the Cretan poet Epimenides as a prophet. Okay, we just found that in one of the dictionaries or something. The New Testament, like the Old Testament, condemns false prophets, pseudo-prophetes, for being illegitimate and for teaching false doctrine. Okay. Traditionally, the prophets have been divided into writing prophets, to whom biblical books are attributed, and non-writing prophets, those who appear in narratives but have no biblical books attributed to them. So this is what I call like a Bible factoid. People like Bible factoids. Okay, they just do. So it's not bad, but I do often note that comments like this don't really move the needle in somebody's faith. So it's fun to include Bible factoids at times, but it's not my favorite. I don't like to make just an entire sermon out of Bible factoids, okay? But that's an interesting piece of information. All right, what else? A person directed by his inspiration of God to proclaim his will. So here's one of our first definitions. Here's one of our first definitions of prophet. I was reading about priests today, so I had thought of something, but it was on priests, not prophets. Any person directed by inspiration of God to proclaim his will. Also, prophet, a seer, the prophets, and prophecy. The title is also applied to those who function as prophets of other gods, such as Baal or Asherah. So this will help us in finding a definition. So let me move those off to the side. Really, I want them over here for right now. And now we're getting some information that's going to help us drive towards a definition, which will be helpful. Man, that is really good tea. I love green tea, guys. Might be one of my favorites. Okay, prophets occasionally spoke of future events, but more often their messages consisted of warnings of judgment for violations of the Mosaic law, accompanied by calls to repentance. That's really helpful, because this is like their primary function, if that makes sense. Only one who has the faculty of prophetic seeing is able to receive the message from God. Very intriguing. And then finally, the early church clearly identified Jesus with a prophet like Moses, Navi, foretold in Deuteronomy 18:15, Acts 3:22, and 7:37. So that's all the information we had gathered from our previous study. Okay? So I think that's a good start. Getting a rough definition, some of the things they do, and tying it to the New Testament with Jesus. So let's head back over here. Okay. Well, I'm not sure where we want to start. Should I try to see if I can't... Maybe I should try to see if I can't... If I can't find a primary verse to teach or preach out of. That would be pretty cool. But first, let's just do our roadmap and make sure this is what I was supposed to preach on. It's a good start. And let's see. It will be what? The 6th? The 5th. No. What am I doing? Yeah, the 5th. Okay. And yep, 2/5/23, I have prophets and overview. So we're consistent with what we were planning on preaching and teaching. Let's get a notes document going. Boom. Boom. Okay, now, fact book it up. And let's go prophets or prophet. And I'm sure this is what we got. Any person directed by the inspiration of God to proclaim his will. Right, so we've got a couple ideas already. First, they are a seer, whatever that is. Okay. Then, they're directed by inspiration to proclaim his will. Yep. And they don't always predict the future, but more often they have warnings of judgment, followed by calls to repentance. Ruination, man, I wish Logos would put some TLC into notes. It's funny because they're a lot better than they were. They were really, really bad for a long time, and then they made notebooks and all that other stuff. So I do hear you, Ruination. I use notes all the time. I have lots and lots of notes, and they're good, not great. I'm gonna heat that water up. Seer is a diviner. Lots, tea leaves, etc. Oop. Gonna have to have some discussion of what a seer is. So let's just do something like attributes. Seer. Proclaim God's will. Warnings of judgment. Future events, but I'll put secondary. Future events are a secondary feature. So that's a decent start already, just on developing some attributes. Let's see if we can't find any key passages. Ooh. If a prophet or a dreamer of dreams arises among you and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder that he tells you comes to pass, and if he says, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them, you shall not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and hold fast to him. But that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has taught rebellion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of slavery, to make you leave the way in which the Lord your God commands you to walk. So shall purge the evil from your midst. That's very intriguing. An attribute for God is 100% accuracy. So we'll put true versus false. 100% accuracy. And then the second one is encourages idolatry or apostasy. Right? Because here, he's accurate. It comes to pass, but God says, nope. Because he told you to go after other gods. So this is how you discern true versus false. Perfect. Perfect. Good progress. This song's weird. Skip. Skip. And okay. Let's check out another one. I don't think I want that to be my primary text, but let's put it down. Deuteronomy 15, 1-5. And one of the keys is that in the New Testament, excommunication becomes the Old Testament capital punishment. Okay. Cal Magic, you skipped the song. I was waiting for the elevator door to open. That's funny. Yeah, that was an interesting one. I need more tea. 1 second. All right, steeping. Need to steep just for a short amount of time. Okay, 20 to 22. All right, ready to go. Ready to go. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name that I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that same prophet shall die. If you say in your heart, how may we know the word that the Lord has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the word does not come to pass or come true, that is a word that the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken presumptuously. You need not be afraid of him. There we go. That's the accuracy that Cal Magic was talking about. So that's Deuteronomy 18, 20 to 22. Boom. Cal Magic, how do you know how long to steep the tea? By tea, process, personal taste, all of the above. So I know general rules for different types of tea. Generally, green teas are some of the most sensitive, and so they need the lowest steeping temperatures and times. So green teas, I usually start out at about 175 degrees Fahrenheit and steep, when I'm doing Gong Fu, steep only for 5 seconds just to get a feel for it. You know, even less than that. Sometimes I pour in the water and I immediately pour it out. And that's just to get a feel for how sensitive the tea is. You can taste how astringent it gets. Then you kind of learn by experience, and okay, this one can go this long, this one can go that long, etc. So yeah, it's a combination of all that stuff, Cal Magic. I've steeped a lot of tea now, and so I've got a pretty good sense of what it can and should do, should or should not do. It's rare these days that a tea will throw me for a loop, if that makes sense. Like, that's about perfect, maybe a tad too long. Like, I could have steeped it like 2 seconds less, but it's really good still. All right. Well, we've got this. Let's keep going. Because I'm not only going for true versus false, I kind of want a statement just about prophets, like who they are or what they do. After that, you shall come to Gibeath Elohim, where is the garrison of the Philistines. And there, as soon as you come to the city, you will meet a group of prophets, coming down from the high place with harp, tambourine, flute, and lyre before them, prophesying. Then the Spirit of the Lord will rush upon you, and you will prophesy with them and be turned into another man. Now, when these signs meet you, do what your hand finds to do, for God is with you. Then go down before me to Gilgal, and behold, I am coming down to you to offer burnt offerings and to sacrifice peace offerings. 7 days shall you wait until I come to you and show you what you shall do. When he turned his back to leave Samuel, God gave him another heart, and all these signs came to pass that day. And then it happens. That's kind of cool, but it doesn't give enough info about prophets themselves. Man, I just want like a verse that just really talks about who a prophet is and what they do. But it's almost like it's more inferred, if you will. Right? We study prophets in a lot of passages and get to the point where we get a decent idea of what they do. So Abraham, Moses. Ooh, this is interesting. Every feature which characterized the true prophet of Yahweh in the classical tradition of Old Testament prophecy was first found in Moses. The Lexham Theological Wordbook, that'd be a great one. Prophets. Perfect. Thank you, Cal Magic. In the Old Testament, a prophet is a person, either male or female, who functions as God's spokesperson and is commissioned by him to deliver his word, either to individuals or to groups. The prophet receives the word of God through various means, including dreams, visions, and theophanies. In the New Testament, a prophet is one whom God has equipped alongside apostles, pastors, and teachers to lead the church through the edification and encouragement of believers. Now, this is interesting, because they're assuming a difference between Old Testament and New Testament prophets, which I know is a common evangelical thing to do. So they're not well out of line in doing this. But sometimes I wonder about this distinction, if it's not an arbitrary one that we're creating. You see what I mean? Makes me wonder. Makes me wonder. But this is a common thing to do. In the Old Testament, prophets are designated with various terms. The most common is Navi. Yeah, and I don't care about the specific words. We've been here before. Roeh. I'm remembering all of this. Theological overview. In the New Testament, most of the references to prophets are to Old Testament figures or their writings. These references are used primarily to authenticate the messianic identity of Jesus and his ministry. In this sense, prophets are presented not only as people who proclaimed the divine word, but also those who foretold the coming of the Messiah. John the Baptist is referred to as a prophet. This is a common opinion of the people concerning Jesus as well. The early church clearly identified Jesus with a prophet like Moses, foretold in Deuteronomy 18:15. Other prophets mentioned by name are Agabus, Judas and Silas, Barnabas, Simeon, Lucius of Cyrene, Manaen, and Saul/Paul, as well as the prophetess Anna. The woman identified in Revelation as Jezebel claims the title of prophet, but is in fact a false prophet. Paul refers to the Cretan poet, that's where I got that quote, Epimenides as a prophet. In the Pauline epistles, prophets are listed alongside apostles, pastors, and teachers as those whom God has equipped to lead the church. A major role of these individuals is to edify and encourage believers. Oh, that's helpful. This is a good cross-reference. Okay. On the other hand, the one who prophesies speaks to people for their upbuilding, encouragement, and consolation. So that's a good quote. Here's another cross-reference. Judas and Silas, who were themselves prophets, encouraged and strengthened the brothers with many words. Those are great. The New Testament, like the Old Testament, condemns false prophets for being illegitimate and for teaching false doctrine. Okay. What's up, Fuzz? Good to see you. Cal Magic, I think they should complement each other. Yeah, it's a good point. The primary object and effect of the call was an introduction into God's presence, as the passages noted above show. This was the secret or counsel of the Lord. The prophet stood before men as a man who has been made to stand before God. Fuzz, another blessed day, mulling over my brain, the sermon I have been coming up myself. Ooh, when are you preaching? I will say, I like this setup, but it causes me to turn too much in my chair. Maybe if I draw... No. I need this desk to be higher so that I can drop my chair below it and I can turn fully and face the camera. So we're getting there. I can tell I can't stream for hours and hours in this position, though. Like, my back is twisted, you know. We'll get there. Cal Magic, perhaps the New Testament prophet is the fulfillment of the Old Testament prophet through Christ and the Holy Spirit. That's a really interesting point. Let's put it down. Just throwing these things on our Canvas document. Fuzz, Friday I do a run-through for the elders. Not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. Pastor's heading to Oregon for the Super Bowl with his family. Nice. That's the perfect time to get a fill-in, right? Let him preach the Super Bowl. That guy. Have him do it. That's awesome, man. Cool. Yeah, this seer aspect is interesting. Oh, I'm going to have to address this. I don't want to address the issue of whether or not prophet is changed in the New Testament. I just want to ignore it. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Fuzz, yeah, and I don't care for the Super Bowl. I stopped watching football altogether a handful of years ago. Fuzz says, I'll be going over Hebrews 10:25, but in a way most don't realize. Intriguing. Prophet in the New Testament and early church. The term prophet and prophecy in the New Testament designate a variety of phenomena, including speech that names injustice or that builds up the community, revelatory visions and ecstatic utterances, altered states of consciousness, and symbolic actions that unmask and challenge the prevailing powers. Prophetic speech is not merely predictive, but combines aspects of memory, tradition, and hope to awaken vision and resistance. During the New Testament era, this resistance was focused on Roman imperial rule and its extension through the Herodian rulers and Jerusalem elites. Later generations of prophets directed their energies against the consolidation of power in the structures of the early church itself. Prophets arose especially in times of conflict and injustice. Women may have exercised significant leadership in the early church, especially as prophets. You can see this is a more liberal source, the New Interpreter's Dictionary. I'm not saying it's bad, but you just need to recognize its biases. Cal Magic, I stopped football in 1987, the first player strike. Never looked back. Well done, good sir. Well done. Yes. I just find so much of that to be a waste of time, you know. Now, that's for me. I'm not judging others who do those things. I'm not. It's just not something that, look, I have my own pastimes. I have my own hobbies. I have my own interests, you know, but I found for me, sports was not one that I could really maintain consistently. It just didn't grab me in that way. So I'd rather play, you know, a board game, spend time with friends, you know, and read and study and things like that. Those are my hobbies, pastimes, whatever. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that sports is just not one I could ever really get into too much. And I'm okay with that. When I played it, I loved it. Okay, I played football in high school, absolutely loved it. And I enjoy playing sports. I really like racquetball, actually, too. But in terms of me actually watching or viewing, nah, not for me. Not for me. But I see many, many people who that's their thing. It's like, okay, gotcha. Let's see, Fuzz. I'll be basically going through the verses 19, therefore, and how the command that follow on build the foundation of the gospel and reality of better things Jesus brings by way of being better in every way, which is the theme in Hebrews. And where I landed that not gathering is a gospel issue. It seems that the author makes it plain that those three commands are gospel-centric issues. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, you're right. That's not a take that I've heard before. So, very intriguing. Cool. Well, best of luck to you, good sir. Cal Magic, in high school, I played tennis and wrestling. Loved both sports at that time. Yeah. Okay, what do we got? The early Christians understood prophets to represent God's own voice, the continuing voice of the crucified and risen Jesus, or the movement of the Spirit. Christian prophets typically drew upon images, words, and themes of the biblical tradition, as well as the teachings of Jesus, even when speaking from direct revelation. Prophets were integral parts of Christian worshiping assemblies, which were themselves both endowed with the prophetic spirit and called upon to exercise critical discernment of the prophetic voices among them. The gospel traditions present John the Baptizer and Jesus as prophets. Both are called by God from birth and call others to repentance in anticipation of God's coming reign. John and Jesus both operate at the margins of their social settings and challenge the assumptions by which people around them have ordered their worlds. Jesus especially is presented as an eschatological figure whose ministry crosses the boundaries between human and divine. In their announcement of God's empire, their criticism and subversion of the dominant order, and their actions that point toward the reality of God's rule, John and Jesus combine the mode of oracular prophets of the classical biblical tradition and that of action prophets such as Moses, Joshua, Elijah, and Elisha. Oh, so that's interesting. They have oracular prophets and action prophets. Those are interesting categories. Very interesting. John's ministry of baptism in the wilderness challenges the Jerusalem-based aristocracy and the efficacy of temple sacrifices while recalling Israel's encounters with God on the way from slavery to the Promised Land. Jesus' baptism by John signals Jesus' symbolic death to the powers of this world, not only in his proclamation, but also in his exorcisms and healings, parables, and practices of open table fellowship. Jesus functions as a prophet. Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem and the cleansing of the temple are prophetic sign acts by which Jesus subverts Roman and Jewish social conventions while asserting God's rule and drawing the ire of ruling powers. Jesus' crucifixion is the definitive prophetic sign act of his ministry. Yeah, actively references Q. Very interesting. Okay. Old Testament prophets. The message and ministry of the Old Testament prophets focus primarily on Israel. At the same time, the commitment to communicating Yahweh's message to his people reflects an awareness of God's involvement in the history of other nations, whether focusing on the various dimensions of life within the elect community or on the course of events that surround states. These spokespersons grounded their words in the person of Yahweh. This attention to the singularity of Yahweh must therefore be the starting point for any discussion of the mission of the people of God in the prophetic material. Okay, that's helpful. So one of the things they primarily address is God's uniqueness. So they proclaim God's will, warning of judgment, stress the unique very good. Ah, very cool. Fuzz. Very nice. Cal Magic says, where do you get your music? 100 most obscure songs of 1980.com. Oh, do I have the wrong playlist on? Surely I have the right playlist. Yeah, you're right. This is weird music. Is it too loud? Cal Magic? No, it's on the right station. So here's what it is. And here's why I do it. I think I can... Again, I'm always so nervous I'm going to dox myself. Yeah, I think this is fine. So, it's Pretzel. And what I like about it are these little check marks. Okay? YouTube safe, instrumental. And I can turn mature off, and I don't need to download the music. Okay? And then all I do is come down here to stations, chill. And I play the chill station, relax, unwind, and chill. I play the chill station with YouTube safe on, mature off, and instrumental on. So that's where the music is. You know, seems like for my streaming, these are the ideal categories. Now, I wonder if like lo-fi would also be good. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But chill with YouTube safe, not mature, and instrumental. That's what I pick. Fuzz says, which honestly has helped me with my thoughts of being unimportant in everyone's life. I meditated on that and realized that me thinking my family doesn't need me is really saying God doesn't have glory intended through my life that I can fathom, whether in failure or through his prescriptive will. Very nice, Fuzz. Yeah. One of the best things about prepping sermons, honestly, and very few people actively recognize this, but one of the best things about prepping sermons is how it affects your own heart in your preparation. Because, like you said, you're meditating upon it, you're thinking about it. How does this affect me? How does it impact me? And that's really, really cool when that happens. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Fuzz. Gonna get another cup of tea. So now we'll let it go a little bit longer. All right, Fuzz, best of luck, good sir. Best of luck. Thank you for the lurk. So the uniqueness of God. First Kings 18. Okay. The demands of justice. They emphasize this. So this is all coming from Evangelical Dictionary of World Missions. Don't want to forget the T. All right. Demands of justice. This is a good quote. The future hope of the prophets. The tone of the prophets is overwhelmingly negative. Most announce imminent and inevitable judgment. Yet many also envision a future of peace, prosperity, and holiness beyond the coming of divine chastisement. Most fundamentally, the prophetic hope centers around the Messiah. Different passages offer several pictures of the person and ministry of Yahweh's anointed. He will be king and shepherd. He will be led by the Spirit of God. The suffering servant of Isaiah, more than any other description, points to the extension of Yahweh's love. So future hope in Jesus, basically. That's pretty cool. Another related dimension of the prophetic hope is the eschatological role of Zion. So I think I can dodge the New Testament, Old Testament prophet issue by just owning it up front and saying, look, I'm not going to address this. Not going to address that. Classic prophetic mission passages reconsidered. Those interested in missionary outreach and recruitment naturally go to Old Testament seeking echoes of New Testament mandates. Two portions that have continually been appealed to are Isaiah and Jonah. However, the utilization of these passages does not often reflect the textual data. Missionary call. Yeah, we're good. Honestly, this was really good. This little article was really, really good. I enjoyed it. In sum, the Old Testament prophets do not directly address world missions, as this is understood in the New Testament and the Christian church. Instead, their contribution lies in that they display the character of God, who on the one hand requires that his people accomplish the mission of being a holy people among the nations. On the other hand, this same Yahweh demonstrates that his love and justice are universal, both in the future judgment of all nations and the worldwide ministry of Messiah. I think I should find a passage that stresses all of these. Maybe, for example, I can grab Elijah on Mount Carmel and just use him and not zoom in on that specific account, but use that section to teach these things. Interesting. Curiouser and curiouser. Man, I've been nailing this green tea. Every cup has been solid. Yes! Man, that's good. All right. What else do we have here? Zondervan Illustrated Bible Dictionary. 3 Hebrew words are used to designate: Navi, Roeh, Hoseh. Last 2 words or participles may be rendered as seer, practically synonymous in meaning. First term is difficult to explain etymologically, though various attempts have been made. Significance of these words, however, may be learned from their usage. Each of the words designates one who is a spokesman for God. Very important. Navi illustrated in Exodus 4:15-16 and 7:1. That might be my primary text right there. You shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth. I will be with your mouth and with his mouth and will teach you both what to do. He shall speak for you to the people. He shall be your mouth. You shall be as God to him. This is such a good expression. Perfect. Yes. Yes. What a good practical example. I forgot about this. This is when God says, just as I am with you, Moses, you are going to be this way to Aaron, right? It echoes downward. That's perfect. That's going to be my text. I'm like 95% sure that's going to be my text. Both of these, really. Look at us making progress. Love to see it. Come on. Exodus 4. 15-16. 7:1. Well done, Fuzz. Well done. That's awesome. Let's see. What's up, buds? Is it bad I only read the Old Testament? I don't think so. I really like the Old Testament. Now, you have to recognize that the Old Testament is types and shadows, right? If you read the Old Testament a lot, I would also recommend you to read the book of Hebrews, okay? Just because the book of Hebrews orients you to what the Old Testament is more clearly than any other New Testament book. It very clearly demonstrates the Old Testament as a book of types and shadows. But with that said, the types and shadows can be really interesting, right? And very, very neat. Lots of principles displayed in the Old Testament. So yeah, go for it, but just read Hebrews as well, because that's going to help you to kind of see where these things fall into place, if that makes sense. Yeah, good question. In these passages, it is clearly taught that Moses stood as God in relation to the Pharaoh. Between them was an intermediary, Aaron, who was to speak to the Pharaoh the words that Moses gave to him. This is so helpful. Buds, thanks for the advice. I will make note. Yeah, very good. Very good. Ooh, I just thought of something. I have something I want to write my paper on for my Hebrews to Revelation class. And I just thought about a resource that needs to be included. Okay, moving along, nothing to see here. Cal Magic. With all the citations, echoes, and allusions, I've come to depend on my Old Testament to serve as a background to my readings in the New Testament. Yeah, that's excellent. Very cool. I was like most. I used to functionally ignore the Old Testament, like many, and just mostly read my New Testament. And yeah, in principle, I had nothing wrong with the Old Testament, but in practice, it was so easy to focus on Paul's epistles. I've seen that. I've seen that a lot in churches where it's just focus on Paul, focus on his epistles, that's it. But I don't find that to be as effective as I would like, I suppose. And I'm more like CalMagic these days. But the problem is that takes a lot of background work, right? CalMagic, that takes a lot of research to be able to do that well. So it takes a lot of digging. It's great, but it takes a lot of digging. That's hard for a lot of people. Okay, well, if I go with Exodus 4, 15 to 16, and 7, 1, then I can create a framework for what does prophet do. And the whole concluding point is that they speak on behalf of God. That's the big picture. Then I can come here and say, what is proclaiming God's will? And I can pick these 4 things. They stress the uniqueness of God. They stress the demands for justice. They cry out for practical righteousness. These kind of go together. And then finally, they point forward to a future hope in Jesus. And that could be the sermon right there. Who is your prophet and what does he do? That's awesome. I mean, that would do it. That would cover the whole thing. But this article's been great, so I just want to finish it. The man who can be designated a Navi, then, is one who speaks for... What?
Got Fuzz just resubbed for 17 months.
Buds, thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so much, Buds. Awesome. The real MVP. Much love. Much love. Thank you so much. God bless you. That's great. CalMagic, learning the Old Testament is a career move, something I could only dream of doing before I retired. Now I have about 5 hours a day, 6 a.m. to 11 or noon. That's great. Super cool, CalMagic. Well done. Hello. Chaz says, how do you make it so you automatically copy to your notes? Oh, I think you... So you mean like if you grab something like this, you can throw it over there instantly? Let me see. I've done this before. I don't regularly use this function. Yeah, it's right here. Just this add to note. Or no, that's add a note to it. No, that doesn't work. Clippings. I know it works for clippings. And a lot of people use it instead of using clippings. Or, excuse me, use clippings instead of notes. But I don't know if you can highlight it and then just tell it to immediately go over there. Ruination, gotta run. Thanks for the hang time. May the Lord bless you, brother. Thank you so much, Ruination. Take care, okay? God bless you. Corey, hello. Hi, Pastor Tanner. I noticed the Christian Tradition, A History of Development of Doctrine by Jaroslav Pelikan dropped on Logos 10. Super stoked to go through them. Corey, no doubt. Are you saying they actually released them? Today is Tuesday. Oh, don't get me excited, Corey. I don't see it. I don't see it in the recent updates. I've had them for a while, like 2 to 3 weeks. What? Oh, they're here. Yes. I missed them when they dropped. Oh, yes. That is boss. Well done, Corey. Thanks for pointing that out. What's up, Madden? Good to see you. Yes, they're in, guys. Guys, I got to tell you, this series is so lauded that I started buying them in print before Logos 10 was launched. I started buying them in print, and I have 3 of them in print out of the 5. Oh, I can't wait to go through them as well. Through the Centuries dropped as well? What? Are those the Wiley ones? Yeah. I referenced a couple of these thus far, but I haven't gone any further than just a couple of them. I created a short video on them. That's awesome. Thanks for the heads up, Corey. I didn't realize Pelican had dropped. Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to go through them either. It's going to be a post-graduation read for me, but I will definitely read through the full set. So excited. These are promoted by so many out there when it comes to the church history space. 5-volume opus, now available in its entirety. Great. That's great. Really cool. Yeah, thanks, Corey. What's up, Simply Life? Good to see you. All right, Chaw says, I feel like I've seen you do it. You clicked styled, but it didn't work for me. Maybe I'm crazy. Well, here's what I typically do. So I'll show you how that works. You right-click, and what you have over here is, so on the left side is, what am I trying to highlight? You see what I mean? So it thinks selection means everything I actually highlighted. Okay. Then on the right side is, what do I want to do with all that? You see what I mean? So on the left, selection is everything I highlighted, but maybe I just want to do the topic because in my highlight, there's also a factbook topic in there. So I can click that, and now it's just going to give me that topic, not the whole selection. And then on the right, I can choose what to do with it. I can look up prophet in the factbook or in any of my 5 highest prioritized dictionaries, or the head word. And it also happens to be prophet, but head word is at the very top of the article. And then the same thing, I can do a variety of things with it. Okay. But selection here is what I typically have. And then you just go over here to copy. Now, the one where you're getting styled, that has to do with the Bible. Okay. So if you go here and you highlight a Bible verse and right click, selection is, notice, look, I didn't hit there. I just hit is swearing, lying, murder, etc. Now I can copy that, but it's going to copy the selection only. But if I want the full reference, this full verse, I just have to hit reference here. Notice it grabbed that. My original selection is still maintained, but now when I hit reference, it says I want that whole Bible reference. And then again, this copy is styled, lines, text only, and there are more options. But that just adds it to your clipboard in a certain format, and then you have to go over to wherever you want to paste it, and then I just put Control V. So if you see me doing it at times, you know, I might be like, oh, these 2 verses are important. Notice I only grab these 2. I don't have to grab the full verses. I only grab these 2 because I know I have some of my highlight in verse 2 and some of my highlight in verse 3. I right click, and then because I have reference highlighted, it picks all of it. Then I just hit style, and then I come over here and I hit Control V. Done. And that gives me verses 2 and verse 3. Now notice if I do the exact same thing, but I hit selection, well, it changed my selection. But if I do that, and I hit selection instead of reference, and I hit styled, then I paste that, and it completely makes me look dumb. Okay, it shouldn't have done that because I'm on selection. They break the bounds, etc. Well, maybe because I hit copy verses instead of copy, right? So, yeah, I hit copy verses instead of copy. If I hit copy here, then it should only give me the small amount. Yeah, there we go. They all break brands, bloodshed, and blood follows bloodshed. Yeah, there you go. All makes sense. Perfect. Thanks. Yes. So once you know how this menu works, the thing on the left is what you wanted to select. The thing on the right is what am I going to do with that? There you go. Perfect. Glad to be helpful. Yeah, it's not terribly intuitive, but once you know how it works, it's nice. Bud says, today's Tuesday. My wife is watching The Bachelor on TV every Tuesday night now. Oh, boy. So I avoid those things, but here's why. I have an addictive personality. Like when we first started watching Lost, oh, man. When we first started watching Lost, I had to binge it, right? I'd get home from work, like we'd make some food, and then we would watch like 4 or 5 episodes in a row, you know? And those aren't short episodes. I remember an episode would finish and we'd look at each other and be like, one more episode? Yeah, one more episode, right? And just binge. And so I recognize my personality at this point. I just have such an addictive personality. And so Jess and I decided, like, we got to stop. We have got to stop this. And so the reason I'm saying that, Buds, is The Bachelor on TV. Like, I know it's probably apropos for men to pan such a show, but I'll tell you, if I watched 3 episodes of The Bachelor, I'd be hooked. I'm sure of it. I'd be hooked. It doesn't matter what it is. I'd get hooked super quick. And so, no, not going to do it. Not going to do it. I'm not even going to start. That's awesome, buds. Corey, anyone else watching Trent Horn and Gavin Ortland debate in March? Got to buy my tickets. Big fans of both. Yeah, I'm a big Gavin Ortland fan. He's great. I really like his stuff. He's very nuanced and balanced, so I like him a lot. And from what I've seen of Trent Horn, he keeps a cool head and represents his position well. Obviously, I'm not Catholic on purpose, but yeah, I think that's probably going to be a great debate. Sounds cool. Very nice, Corey. It's going to be on YouTube. All righty. Where was I? Oh, I was here. The 2 words, roe and hose, perhaps have primary references to the fact that a person so designated sees the message God gives to him. This seeing may mean that the message first came through a vision, and in some instances it did, but overall the use of these words is as broad as the English word perceive and perception. Ah, interesting. Eventbrite. Okay, I got you, Corey. I mean, it sounds cool. Cal Magic, I can't sit still long enough to watch a commercial. I have to be doing something else. Even with your Twitch stream, I'm constantly working on something else at the same time. I feel you, Cal Magic. I'm quite similar. Constantly jumping around back and forth to different things. So I know exactly what you mean, my man. Yep. That's funny. Okay, so the idea for a seer comes from these, the roe and hose. Now, do I want to touch this? I don't think I want to touch it. Stress the uniqueness of God, demands of justice, future hope in Jesus. Yeah, I think that's good. I think this is what I essentially want to address. I might also have to head off. So I'll head off the Old Testament versus New Testament prophets thing. And I'll also head off the future predictions thing. And then also the seer or visions and thing. I think I can head all of those things off and then just jump into this and give some healthy background on prophets in general. All right. The biblical emphasis throughout is practical. It is not the mysterious mode of reception that the prophetic revelation is emphasized, but rather the deliverance of the message itself for God. That's pretty cool. The biblical prophet must be distinguished from the prophetess of the Greeks. The latter really acted as an interpreter for the muses and the oracles of God. The biblical prophets, however, were not merely interpreters. They uttered the actual words that God had given to them without any modification on their part. The Bible itself gives an accurate description of the function of a true prophet. I will put my words in his mouth, and he will tell them everything I command him. The words were placed in the prophet's mouth by God. That is, they were revealed to the prophet, and then the prophet spoke to the nation precisely what God had commanded him. The position of the prophet in the Old Testament administration. The establishment of the prophetic institution was necessitated by the settlement of the nation Israel in the land of promise. Israel entered Canaan with the precious possession of the law. This law, revealed by God at Mount Sinai, laid the broad basis on which the life of the people of God was to be built. The basic principles of divinely revealed ethics and morality are found in the Ten Commandments. Sundry rules for particular situations are expressed in the other laws. Yeah, I think we're good here. Ooh, the prophet, I will raise up one like a prophet like Moses. Ooh, you just reminded me, Chaz. This is a really cool aspect of this. You can right-click a Bible reference, and rather than clicking selection, you click the Bible reference down here and copy it, and it will copy the whole Bible reference, right? That's pretty sweet. So I just do it naturally at this point, but if you don't know that, that's a nice trick. Okay, I've got my Canvas document full now. Super dope, didn't know that. Yeah, it's sweet. Just right click here, click on the Bible reference itself, and then hit that, and you'll get the whole reference. CalMagic, putting the words of God into the prophet's mouth should not be confused with the doctrine of inspiration. The books were not works of dictation. That's a really good point as well. All right, let me show you the Canvas doc so you can see where we're at. Corey says, Ezekiel is my favorite major prophet. Is this a study on prophets overall or one specific? Overall. I'll actually show you that real quick. I'm preaching out of Hebrews 11:32, excuse me. And what more shall I say? For time would fail to tell me of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets. And so the reason I'm doing this study is I've already preached a sermon on Gideon, a sermon on Barak, a sermon on Samson, a sermon on Jephthah, a sermon on David, and a sermon on Samuel. I've preached 6 sermons on this one verse. And so I wanted to round it out and preach a 7th sermon on the prophets. So that's what I'm doing, Corey. So it's just an overview of the prophets, who prophets are and what they do. Yep. Cool. Let me go back over to Canvas now. Here's all our notes. You can see, and it looks like a lot, but there's a lot of footnotes in here and stuff too. So those will get cleaned up. But I've got kind of a rough idea of the direction I want to go now. Okay? And so let me just throw this in here. And just got to center this up. Looking for that yellow line. Because I put so much stuff in here already, it's like, oh, we're not sure. Boom, centered. And we'll go intro. And then we'll do something like what is not covered. And that'll be these things. And then we'll do what is covered. And that's going to be these two. And then I'll have, 3 main points? If they're a spokesman for God, what do they typically speak? 1, they stress God's uniqueness. Okay, done. Then they demand justice and obedience. And finally, they hint towards a future hope. Boom, that's it. Intro, God's uniqueness, demand of justice and obedience, future hope. And I'll use the primary text of Exodus 4:15 to 16 and 7:1 to describe what a prophet is functionally, like what they look like. And then I will go to individual passages within the prophets that describe each of these. That's it. Done. So I'll even put like God's uniqueness. I could even put something like for each category reference a major prophet? Question mark? Done. It's that simple. Boom. There we go. So that's going to be the structure, y'all. So, yellow for intro. Blue for point number 1. Red for point number 2. Green for point number 3. That's it. And now we just got to flesh it out. We know what we're doing. CalMagic says, the way you can present ignoring the New Testament is that it hadn't been written when the prophets were defined and put to work. And that is what the author is referencing in Hebrews. Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, CalMagic. We're referencing the prophets from the perspective of the author of the book of Hebrews. He's referencing the Old Testament prophets. Yep. Let's put CalMagic's note here so I remember that. Boom. That's it. All right. I think this is a good stopping point, y'all. I would love to stream more, but I got the evening to get to. And I hate to say it, but as you guys have seen, just not as active as I would like to be. Look, I got to get this MDiv. I'm doing a class a month, okay? Typically, the classes are supposed to be 3 months, okay? 2 to 3 months, depending upon the class and how many credits it is. That's how long they're typically supposed to be. And I'm right now doing a class a month, okay? It is such a fast pace. I'm trying to walk in May. I had to do 10 classes in 10 months in order to walk in May. And so I'm sorry, but almost all my free time goes to that. That's why I'm only streaming once a week at most these days. And it's why there's little to no YouTube content being put out. And I'm sorry, I wish I could do more. But there's a time and season for everything. Ecclesiastes 3. And wisdom dictates we lean into the time and season we're in. So I'm going to try to get more streaming and more content out, but I've also got to balance everything. And that's just where I'm at. So yeah, we're in this for the long haul. This is going to be a small blip in the overall trajectory of our ministry, I think, long term. But for right now, it's where we're at. So yeah, I appreciate you all very much. I really enjoyed today's stream. I like how the camera looks now and the lighting. I do. I just need to figure out how to get my chair situated so it's not twisting my back as much, because I can feel it. I can feel it twisting on my back. But yeah, we're getting there. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out in the stream today. And I really enjoyed interacting. And I don't know if I'll stream again this week. I just don't know. I'm making good progress here. And so I might just pick this up, a little bit later in the week.
This is the biggest room of
Thank you,
freaked
CalMagic.
out snowflakes you've ever seen in your life.
Yes.
CalMagic Guy cheered, X2500, for de-stressing with Jess.
Thank you so much, CalMagic. CalMagic, 2,500 bits for de-stressing. I appreciate you so much, CalMagic. That's amazing. Thank you so much. God bless you, CalMagic. You're awesome. Yeah, you guys are such an encouragement to me, and we're going to keep on keeping on, all right? So thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great evening, great rest of your week, and I will catch you again later. Kuzi, hello, good to see you, says, respect your conviction and your steadfastness. Thank you so much. That's the plan, and I appreciate all the love and support. You guys keep me going. It would have been easy to give up on this a long time ago, but you guys came along and you kept encouraging me, supporting me, etc. You convinced me that we're doing something that's valuable here, and so, we're going to do it to the best of our abilities. All right? You guys are amazing. Appreciate you. Have a great week, okay? Take care. God bless. Bye.